Well, hello. Hello, one and all. Hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, Whimsy, the Oracle of Whimzee. You know, there can only be one. There can only be one Oracle of Whimzee, and I am that Oracle. Now, when I was younger, when I was a wee little Whimsy, I used to think about my parents a lot. And I used to think to myself, what was in my mother's mind when she named me Whimsy? You could argue that a parent naming their child Whimsy is a type of child abuse. But I persevered, and I would like to believe as an adult, I have become the funky, groovy, cool, fun lady that my mother always wished I would become. May she rest in peace. And thank you for the name. Life is an interesting journey. Sometimes our biggest enemy is ourselves. We fight ourselves. Maybe we need to ease into ourselves, explore that. Maybe we need to just accept who we are. In this lifetime, I didn't get to be Moshe Rabbeinu. I didn't get to be Moses. I didn't get to be Joan Baez. In this lifetime, I'm a Whimsy. And so it's my job to be the best Whimsy I can be. That is kind of the meditation that I wanted to give today. When you pursue mastery, you have to bring yourself into the picture. You can't think that mastery is about erasing yourself. That's not mastery. Mastery is easing into yourself and accepting and loving yourself for who you are and then mastering that thing. I used to be very upset about the fact that I was a Whimsy. I wanted people to take me seriously. But no matter what I did, for some strange reason, people just kept laughing. It made for a really frustrating and unhappy time of it, you can imagine. But as I pursue that ever elusive enlightenment, I have come to realize that it's okay to be a Whimsy. I've meditated on this a lot. Why would the universe create an energy for this earth that is Whimsy? We all have to do our job to create heaven on earth. What can I do in this lifetime to help all sentient beings attain enlightenment? I have to be true to myself. I have to be excellent. And I have to be the highest expression of who and what I am, complete. And that means being the best Whimsy I can be. That energy, the diva, that is Whimsy, the diva, little d, the Dakini in Tibetan Buddhism. Those energies that were cast out from Tibet because they didn't want to follow the rules. They went off and made mischief. They could never return back to Tibet. They were forever banished. Troublemakers, like the Oracle of Whimzee, the Dakinis, right? So primordial spirits forever bound to this earth, necessary for the earth to exist Because if that energy ceases to exist in the world ceases to exist. And so while it may seem trivial and unimportant, whimsy, the ability to be enchanted, the ability to feel joy, the ability to believe in magic is actually a really vital and important part of being alive. Let's come together and let's bring in the empath prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. All right, so a couple things going on. I wanted to come online first to deliver the message from Spirit in a fun, kind of an amusing way that I hope you got it, in a whimsical way that I hope you enjoyed. Carroll has now received the $5 million from Donald Trump. That would explain why he's not in a good mood. He cannot take responsibility for anything. It is not in his nature to take responsibility for anything, including the January 6th insurrection. He simply is incapable. Everything is everybody else's fault or a lie. It's an interesting mental state to be trapped in because most of us, when we become mature adults, we start to realize that we are not perfect. And we start to realize that apologizing when we do things we shouldn't do is important. And when we do things we shouldn't be, when you do something wrong, you need to change your ways. You need to apologize, make amends, atone, pay restitution if necessary, and change it. There's a process. And it's a process you learn when you become an adult. It's the process that goes from bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah, when you now know what's expected of you, but we'll let you make mistakes until you hit the age of approximately 18 to 21. This is Talmudic law. And I think they had it right. They understood brain development. You can understand right and wrong and have some empathy by age 12, 13. But you're still going to have an undeveloped brain and you're still going to have temptations. But by 21, you'd better have it together in terms of your ethics and how you treat other people. And here we have somebody who's 80 years old and hasn't figured that out. And he has powers. He has the power to declare war, but military action. And let's just be honest, we're at war right now. Could potentially become World War III. Some would argue it is. Would it have been worse if it hadn't ended now? Absolutely, 100%. Because if we'd sat back and allowed one of Pakistan's nuclear weapons to go missing, oops, Iranian sympathizers, right, within the military. Fear of civil war inside Pakistan, a nuclear power. Has it already happened? Has a pesky nuke warhead gone missing? People are constantly, this is the thing that keeps Barack Obama up at night. Okay. They didn't need to build a nuclear weapon, Iran. They could simply borrow one. Okay, so base of the matter right now for Donald Trump has to do with the fact that he is grieving over, I really feel this energy of this victory with E. Carroll really was hard for him because you have this kind of victory card here for her, and then that Knight of Cups. It feels to me when I go into this as a remote viewer that he did everything in his power not to pay this because he didn't want to take responsibility. And then he was informed by his lawyers and the courts because they had connected his bank accounts with the courts when he had been dealing with this legal issue. So they had access. In plainer words, what the Akashic records are telling me when I go into this, just as a trance medium, is that they were going to take the money whether he agreed to it or not. And his lawyers basically told him it was the end of the road. There's no more diddly-daddling. This is what it feels like. Either you give it to us or we'll just pull it out ourselves. It's a feeling that they have control of the bank account, But for E. Jean Carroll, Ace of Swords, Knight of Cups, play nice, play nice. Powerful woman, E. Jean Carroll. I also feel when I go into this energy that she is an activist and she will make a business of helping other women. She presents as the Queen of Pentacles. A thief attempted to run off with what belonged to her. Y'all read cards, right? You can see these cards for... You see that thief crossing her, businesswoman? Look at that, making nice, because he doesn't want to get prosecuted for obstruction, and there goes her Ace of Swords. See that? Look at that, the loser she tried to get away from in her 4th house. You know what's crazy about this energy when you go into it? It's like he still wants her to like him. He desperately needs his mother's love. He desperately needs the approval of women. His little brain, when he was 2 years old, 3 years old, or however old he was, when his mother went away and he was left with that psychopath, Fred Sr., in his childish brain thought, what have I done that my mother has left me? This is the primal wound that causes the personality disorder. Donald Trump's relationship with his mother, begging her not to leave. What did I do wrong? Pleading. The raw vulnerability of a child crying for their mother. That probably those tears when she had to go to the hospital. Was he 2, 3 years old? Little baby, crying, vulnerable, frightened. There's a scary man here. Mommy, please come back. So the fact that a woman in a position of power has rejected him publicly, there is this, it pushes that primal core pain of trying to get mommy to come back. I blame myself that mommy left because little kids will do that. She investigates. There's more going on here. I'm feeling there's an investigation happening here. Sober. This woman is very health conscious. She's there's a lot of grief here. She feels sorry for him. It's like he's tugging at her sleeve. And I feel very sorry for you, little boy, but you have got to get some help for yourself. Which tells me that on some level, he's trying to communicate with her via attorneys. Look at that grief she's experiencing, trying to get away from this guy. His obsession with her. Right now, fate. She feels it is her destiny to be an advocate. Her house of opposition, trouble in relationships. You know, she's had problems being intimate, and she's had some problems, just a need to be alone, hopes and fears, real estate. She needed this because there was a huge economic burden on her, and real estate and home and hearth. She has conflict in the future. She has security concerns, conflict, war around her. Trump sending people maybe for revenge, I'm feeling could be a problem. It's a victory for women. I'm seeing a party or a celebration. Three of Cups with E. Jean Carroll. And as far as the courts are concerned, New York has rested. Look at this. Trump cannot let her go. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And then the final outcome, she's taking care of her own health. Page of Cups comes for E. Jean Carroll. God bless the woman. I mean, God bless the woman. God bless the woman. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look now at Donald Trump. Future of Donald Trump. Just do 4 cards. First card in a blitz is the 7th house, the immediate environment. Things are changing very rapidly. This, for Trump, is viewed as an omen. Losing to E. Jean Carroll and then having to give up that $5 million, for him, it felt like an omen. It felt to him like it was the beginning of the end, you know, death. He really feels like this is an omen that he's going to continue losing. It's almost like a gambler when you go into this energy. This is somebody who thinks that you're on a winning streak and then you're not. So he sees it as the end of a winning streak. That's the best way to describe it if you go into Trump's energy. He's lost his winning streak. So you have this transformation, but it's not over for him. More police action, more legal action. The powers that protected Donald Trump in the past are now taking away their protection, and we now have serious problems. You can see here the Knight of Swords police. I'll bring it up because it doesn't focus very well on the laptop computer. House of Opposition, Knight of Swords could be police, riot, anger, violence. It could be the war itself, but there's this hostile, aggressive energy. Look, Iran has issued a fatwa against him, but his House of Opposition, there's a lot of people going after him. Hopes and fears his presidency. You know, the presidency, the emperor. Final outcome is packing up and moving. He's going to be in New Jersey, his summer home. No, I wouldn't think Florida, because 10 of Wands is my northeast direction move, which would be Bedminster. Is that what it's called? So he'll be at his summer home. And there's a real estate issue. So it could be that there are repairs or something going on in the White House that forces him, he's going to be spending more of his time in Bedminster, I think is what it's called. It's his home in New Jersey. Yeah. You can see here, because this is real estate renovation. So it could be that part of the reason he's not going to be spending a lot of time there is just because of a lot of crazy stuff that's going on inside the White House. And it could be they're revamping it for bugs and security because of high security alert. For whatever reason, he's headed northeast. This is not southeast, usually it's northeast. And his House of Opposition is looking very aggressive. Also, typified by the Empress, would be like a treasure trove. So there's a lot of people after this guy. Hopes and fears his presidency, and the truth looms over his presidency. Archangel Michael right over his head. Not good. Final outcome, King of Cups. A King of Cups is coming. So King of Cups can be a peacemaker. It can be the bridge over troubled water. Its dark aspects can be addiction, in their cups, delusion, right? It could be that he's trying to get to peace with Iran, and that's why the King of Cups comes in, or it could be more nefarious, meaning that he goes further into his cups, into his delusions. We'll just have to see. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your love and support of this channel. If you need to speak with me and have a tarot reading or a consultation, find that information below in the description of this video. Don't forget, by the way, to like, share, and subscribe. We're passionately headed towards 150,000 by the end of the year. Okay, I'm out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you.